Cool. I think we're live now.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another
Round three.
Wednesday. Is it round 3?
It is round 3.
It feels like the first one.
Um,
This new handy dandy mic in here.
Oh, is that the new mic? Do we have that one last week? I forget. I think we did, right? Maybe.
No, I couldn't. I didn't have access to this room. My wife was using the office, so she was using the mic. But
let's throw this in the Discord.
Yeah, let's do it. A few folks said that they wanted to join, but they're just different time zones. That's probably the biggest knock, is I feel like we have a lot of people in Europe who want to join this, but
totally. I mean, let us know. So if you're like somebody that's in Europe and this is a time that's not probably the most ideal, depending on where you are, probably pretty late. We're down to move it up. It's 10 a.m. here in Pacific, in the West Coast of the U.S., so we can move this up for sure. Trying to capture some of the East Coast lunch, but yeah, I mean, sweet. I see that go in the Discord.
Just ping Discord. Amazing.
And we're
cool.
Yeah, sweet. I know, like it was interesting. So to give some context to the audience, I mean, we were just having this conversation offline before this call, and we just started talking about like stuff that we released this week and things about host creation and AI and like this whole human in the loop process and like converting structured thoughts to or unstructured thoughts to more structured information. And we're like, wait, we should just pause this conversation because it would be way more interesting to talk about it live for everybody, because it kind of gave some insight about, how we're deciding on what features to release and how we're thinking about integrating language models and AI into the process so that you as a creator are able to come to Jellypod with a bunch of just ideas and thoughts, and we will be those guardrails and help take those unstructured ideas into something that's structured without a lot of overhead. And so I know this week, if anyone saw it, we made some big changes to how hosts were created. And Jason, I don't know if you wanted to touch on this, but I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, it was way more fun of an experience, to me at least.
Way more fun. Yeah, I mean, just a quick aside, just a quick a meta riff. Like even right now, like our chats when it's just the two of us are so much more unstructured and fluid. But right now, I feel like we're trying to be really respectful of one another as we're letting each other finish. Like I'm the worst person to have a conversation with, because I'm always like, if I can see where you're going, I like annoyingly will pop in. And now I don't want to do that, right? Because everyone's watching. So
all three of them right now.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, the riff we were having, yeah, like the host, man, the host, like, the improvements you made, I think it came out yesterday morning, are awesome. To give people some context, I went immediately. I was a big Harry Potter fan growing up as a kid, and I went and made a Harry Potter like. It's almost like how there's all these sports podcasts where there's all these like two random people, like two people who aren't that famous in the sport talking about the sport. I imagine something similar from like Harry Potter's Quidditch team, like two guys that never made the cut for the book, but they're bantering about Quidditch.
Yeah.
And in the past, that would have been like a big lift. I would have went back and forth with ChatGPT back to Jellypod, but this time I just went full on through Jellypod. It was awesome.
No, that's sick. I mean, so like that host creation process. So I think like let's talk about that a little bit more, because when we first rolled out, like
I think Pearson may have cut out.
Oh no, here we go. I see you now.
Or is it me? Testing.
Do you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, you froze. I can't tell if it was me or not. I'm plugged. I'm on Ethernet, so I don't know.
I think you froze on my end too. So I mean, it was probably a streaming thing.
Okay.
quirks of doing something live. It's sick. But
Doing it live. And hi, Steven. Hi from Europe. Thanks for hopping on. Means a lot. We're on the West Coast of the United States.
yeah, I mean that's interesting on the Quidditch thing. Like when Jellypod first came out, this is like the mental model that I had. So we always kind of were pretty bullish. We're obviously bullish on human in the loop creation, like transcript editing. You want to create your host, their backstories, pick their voices. You have some idea for a podcast. You go and upload sources, and so you can kind of see this like overarching theme. I think that we believe that there is. Oh no! I think we lost. We might have lost Jason here. So it's just me now. Unless I dropped. Well, I'll just keep going and hopefully Jason pops back in. But there's this overarching theme about there is a certain amount of human involvement in the creation process that is required for something to feel authentic, to feel like it's yours and you have ownership over it. And so a big problem, I think, with a lot of AI applications today feels like it's a black box. And you put some input, whether that's a text prompt, a video or something, and get some output. And then there's customization, right? And so the customization oftentimes is, oh, we're back. Great.
Okay, so I fell off. Okay.
Yes, I think so.
Sweet. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm full speed. I've got like whatever.
Interesting.
I don't know what's going on.
I was just going on a riff about like this human creation stuff, but like, yeah, like there's a minimum amount of information and like human involvement, creator involvement that we think is required for you to feel ownership of that piece of work. And there was actually a pretty interesting piece that was released last week from the U.S. Patent and Copyright Office, Trademark Office, about like it was very fuzzy of a definition, but they said that AI generated works are copyrightable depending on essentially the amount of effort that went into it. And if you're using AI more as a tool to output that whatever you've done, or is it like a single shot prompt to image? Prompts to image, they said that it's not copyrightable. These definitely will be litigated in court. But if you're using AI as a tool to kind of be like, I'm trying to create something and I'm using it to help structure my thoughts and I'm adding in meaningful edits and everything, like that is copyrightable. So that whole theme goes back to this new improvement that we released last week about hosts. So,
yeah,
like,
well, I guess just to add in the riff that we were having earlier is, so often people have these thoughts kind of swirling in their head, right? With anything, right? You see
Right.
something, you have an immediate reaction, but it takes time to make it structured, and that's where Jellypod is really trying to shine, is taking that swirling thought and streamlining it into something really structured.
So when you were doing the whole Quidditch podcast, creating those hosts, like compared to the host creation process last week, like what was the parts that you liked the best now, and like
Should we show it while?
Yeah, show it. Do you want to share your screen?
Yeah, I'll share. I'm gonna pull it up right now. I'll even pull up the Quidditch banter. I'm gonna be. Actually, I'll probably start with the host. Actually,
are you a Harry Potter fan?
Oh yeah, as a kid, I was the. Are you?
Yeah, I like Harry. I think I've read Sorcerer's Stone like probably 17 times or something. I kept reading it every single reading break I had.
It's so good. Share a tab to get audio. I'm gonna share a tab.
Sweet.
But yeah, no, and like was awesome. I went to Portugal, and I happened to be there right during their graduation. And so when these students at this university in Portugal, in Porto, graduate, they all wear these capes that look basically like wizards, and and when they graduate, they throw their capes in the air. So apparently, J.K. Rowling was in She was in Porto for that graduation, and that's what inspired like Dementors and things like that, where everyone's capes in the air hovering in the middle of the night. So yeah. Small aside for those people, Harry Potter fans. But yeah, so you can see here, brand new for folks who haven't yet visited the host tab again after the unlock. I mean, just looks super clean. You can listen to all your hosts, so you can, the management has improved significantly. But I'll go ahead and show what you just asked about. So here, I mean, talk about a Harry Potter name, Leona Featherbottom. I mean, like, and what's so cool is in the past, you asked like, how would I have done this in the past? I would have had to think about this a bunch.
Let's go through. Let's just create a host.
Oh yeah, let's create a host. Let's make a new one. Let's make a third. Oliver Fleetwood seemed a little bit boring. So, right now, empty state, right? So in the past, you'd have to go into the host name. You have to start with all this stuff. You're confused here. You're not sure what to do. Boom. Generate host. This is the place where you can just put in some unstructured thoughts, a few words, and make it happen. So I said yesterday, Harry Potter's teammates on his Quidditch team.
Well, that was fast.
That was cool. That was super fast. Oliver Wood, I think, what actually I was really keen to do yesterday was make sure that this wasn't a real person, and I think I actually said something different on the thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and generate again. This I'm gonna say, Harry Potter's unknown teammate on his Quidditch team.
Does he ride the bench or what?
What? Yeah, ride the bench. Well,
Right.
because Oliver Wood, I think, was actually the captain of the team. I'm showing you how much I've read Harry Potter as a kid. I think Oliver Wood was the team captain his freshman year in Sorcerer's Stone, if I'm not
right. I do remember that. Yes.
But yeah, as you can see here, Luna Finnegan definitely was not. It's kind of a combination of Luna Lovegood and Sean Finnegan. Again, show you how much information has stuck in my head over the years. I'm actually pretty impressed. But I mean, as you can see, it's like magic, right? And what's super cool is I love the voice design functionality. As you can see, I've hit my voice design limit already. That 16 is a huge limit. I'm on the like enterprise plan, and I'm hitting limits. But actually, I mean, here, I'll delete.
Let's delete one.
I'll delete this one. As you can see, some funny names here from testing. I also love just like. And some of these actually like to keep around. The Bills lost the Super Bowl, so I'm going to go ahead or lost the AFC Championship. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and create a new host. Same thing. Harry Potter's unknown Quidditch. All right, teammate.
And yeah, we used to have something kind of like this with like this AI generate, but it was just like random. And now like that wasn't the right mental model about creating people. So now it's actually, hey, give us a little bit of information and we'll expand upon that to make it actually something that is what you want.
Totally. And like these names, I mean, it's fantastic, right? It's like it's unlocking, it's almost pulling that thing. You ever had that feeling where like something's on the tip of your tongue and you're just like, ooh, like
last week. Like last week, literally, we were going through this process and we were trying to create a host, and I couldn't even think of a name. Like names are hard. I mean,
so hard.
I had to look in like a magazine that's on my desk right now and be like, "What's a name that's in here?" I don't know.
Totally,
like Felix Waverly. There we go.
And that is like also a fantastic name. Like all of these names are really good for what we're doing here. And like I just want people to notice is like these. The way that this is constructed is actually pretty ideal. So if you are making this from scratch, right? So say you've made, you're looking for something a little bit more prescriptive. This is still super helpful to see what's important in the backstory to impact the episode the most. So like things like, raised in the countryside, that might just seem like it's an opener, but it's really meant to like help point out some of the word choice someone might use, right? If you're born in the UK countryside versus London, you're going to be speaking differently. And that is represented in the host. This is, it's just one of the many layers of magic that get created through Jellypod host creation.
Right. Yeah, because if you said Australian or London, New York City, like people speak differently, and that will be reflected in your scripts. So this is, yeah, definitely the backstory is important.
Super. And then just like, like different things about what they're going to prefer, right? So, this is obviously, he dreamed of catching quaffles. He might start to, in his podcast, begin to talk about, like he might make some jokes about, catching a quaffle, whatever.
Nice.
And then this is also important: endearingly clumsy, fiercely determined. This will also come through on the podcast. He's like endearing, kind of, kind of a bumpkin. It sounds like, but determined. He's probably gonna be a bit of a hardo. We all know like the bumpkin hardo.
Right, for sure.
And I think that's what Felix Waverly is going to be like. But this is all again editable.
Right.
He's not actually determined. He's fiercely lazy.
Nice. And then I think that's to be cool right here. So it's like, yeah, so the voice design. So what was interesting when you click generate host, it chose male correctly. So it would help us filter down those professional voices into those more traditionally male sounding voices. But yeah, voice design. So it's going to take that backstory, the name. Now we have 3 previews here, right? So.
Oh, this is actually one thing. This is a pro tip that I used yesterday. This is like, deja vu. But this so based on like our voice models, like like this is this Felix guy is at Hogwarts, which is like a kid's school. It's like going to high school. So Jellypod isn't going to allow you to make kids' voices out of trust and safety. So the youngest you can get is 18. But that's an important thing of how you can get these voices to sound basically, on brand. So like what I did yesterday was I went ahead and did, 18 years old and added that to the beginning. And then design. So, because I'm not sure if you noticed this is kind of a pro tip for the people who are watching, but like you'll see in the voice design, I should have actually said this earlier. You'll see the prompt that is being used to create that voice, and it said middle-aged, right? But a middle-aged, British male is not who's playing Quidditch with Harry Potter.
Right.
But an 18-year-old British male with a warm, high voice just might be. Let's give it a listen.
When you've got a potion brewing, you need both precision and a sprinkle of adventure.
Yeah, like that guy for sure sounds like you could be playing on the team Harry Potter.
When you've got a potion brewing, you need both precision and a sprinkle of it.
Even more so, kind of a bit more of like a.
When you've got a potion brewing, you need both precision and a sprinkle of adventure.
Yeah. I don't know if you want to say more about, what went into all of this, Pearson, but just a fun fact.
I mean, I think I covered it pretty well. It's like, hey, we just need to use that backstory that you created there to design this voice. And now you can clear the selections and recreate them if none of these 3 kind of were good enough for you. Like I didn't like that last one personally. It kind of sounded robotic. But the first 2 were pretty solid.
Fantastic shout. About like if one of these voices sounds robotic, don't like go with that voice hoping that it's going to get better later. Just treat these like, feel free to cycle through these as much as you want until you find the voice that like sounds 100% good in the sample. Yeah.
Totally.
In a world where magic and dreams collide.
In a world where magic.
Sorry, what'd you say?
The first one the first one sounded pretty clear. It's nice. It's interesting. There's some new research being developed that we're going to be implementing to talk about like to make this process easier so that we can actually not show these voices that are bad.
Also, one thing to shout, because this comes up sometimes, is sometimes the voices that get generated will have like a light background hum, and just don't go with those. Like just make sure to clear the selection and move on, because these voice designs are, at the end of the day, they are based on like a huge data set of voices, and sometimes people add in voices that have a hum in the background, or have some background noise, and as a result, they get put in here. So just if you hear it, if anything sounds off, just like don't go forward, because you're going to make your episode at the very end, and you're going to be unhappy. A little bit of hum now will be 10 minutes of hum later.
A lot of hum.
We don't want humming. But yeah, clear selection. This is my new favorite feature personally, because I find this to be such an enjoyable process in like, like I think about like the J.R. Tolkien's, the J.R. Tolkien, the J.K. Rowling's, these like George R.R. Martin's, these world builders, right? They have these characters that are stuck in their head, right? And
Totally.
they imagine how they sounded, but they never maybe they just focused entirely on plot. But this can sort of begin to be that, this can be that like assistant that sort of helps you almost bring like I wonder what what J.K. Rowling would have done on this had she been doing Harry Potter from scratch on this platform.
Right.
And
For sure.
Yeah.
Let's select this one. I mean, let's hear it before.
Do you want to?
And dreams collide. I'm Felix Waverley.
In a world where magic and dreams.
I think I should like the
in
one.
a world where magic.
I liked the first one on the first batch the most myself. But I do think before jumping off to going to make the episode, I do think people want to see the other voice options.
Sweet. Okay.
But quickly.
Quidditch over wands any day. Felix Waverley here, ready to soar above the.
Yeah, that to me is a good one. But what's cool is voice design is only one of these options. It's like my favorite because it provides some of the most, for my use cases. I'm usually making more of these kind of like fictional pieces where I'm world building, but lots of people are using Jellypod for lots of different things, for marketing use cases, for HR use cases, for very business use cases. So for those, you have these other options. I think voice clone is a big one that people like to talk about, like to ask about. Anything that you want to say about voice clones, Pearson?
No, I mean, I think it's kind of self-explanatory here. Like it helps clone your voice or voice of any audio that you provide, as long as you have those rights to do so. We made this page a little bit more clear, saying the top 3 things that we find people not doing. Like sometimes people come to us in the help chat and say, "Hey, like my voice clone sucks." Well, it's like, if you were talking robotically, it's going to emulate the way that you were speaking. So we put that piece right there, vary your voice. So, adds different speeds and tone and emotion. I know it's hard to kind of talk on the spot if you just click record your voice. So we're debating if we should put a script here or not. We kind of want it to be free flow, but maybe you might see changes here. Maybe some questions that, like, hey, like talk about your first teacher or your best friend. Like give us a story about your favorite vacation you've ever done. So yeah, vary your voice. Use a microphone if you have one. Like we were talking about with voice design, that background hum. If you have like a noise going on in your background, like an air conditioner or something, like that's going to get reflected in the clone itself. And yeah, you just want a few, like about a minute or so, maybe 2 of high quality samples to clone your voice. So you can either upload them here or record your voice directly. And yeah.
Yeah. One tip is like I think like Pearson mentioned, like answering questions is a great way to go about it. And I think the questions that Pearson asked were actually super awesome. Like he said, just to reiterate, he was like, tell us a story about your friend. It's all about information that is easy for you to recall, because this is one thing that we see often with voice clones is people will be thinking of their response while on the audio, and they'll be taking a pause.
Mm-hmm.
And every long pause or every noticeable pause, the voice clone does pick up on and thinks that's how you talk. Which is good if you're somebody that is a very slow, methodical speaker,
right,
who takes pauses. But if you don't do that, and you do that because you're thinking about the next question, you're going to be surprised when your clone suddenly starts taking pauses. And one other thing that I actually, if you do find yourself like experiencing that, you're like, for whatever reason, like I do need to think a little bit more, then just break up the audio, right? People, some people want to just sit through and record audio and just get through all, I'll show you right now. Let's see. So right now I'm recording, right? And some people think that this number needs to get to the 2 to 3 minutes on its own, but you can just stop it right there, take a breath, have some water, do whatever you need, and it's still going to be there, right? And then you can record some more, blah blah blah, and then again, it tacks on. So just know that you have that flexibility. And of course, if you for whatever reason want to bring something or you want to record it outside of Jellypod, you can always upload audio samples yourself. Often we see people hitting this thing. Make sure that it's under 10 megabytes, right? So some people like to upload MP4s, like videos of themselves talking. Those will almost always go over the limit, and then they're confused why they're hitting the error message. So make sure that MP3 is great. But I think even M4A, which is like the Mac one, is fine. Yeah.
WAV, like WAV files.
Yeah, that one I think.
Sweet.
But yeah, I think what else? I'm just.
Yeah, I mean, I think I covered a lot of the host improvements here. So like, hopefully, this is just like way more fun to kind of go through and be that designer. I like to call it executive producer, kind of like if you're in the casting room and trying to figure out who exactly should be your podcast host. You have 3 pretty awesome ways to create that host. Everything about the host will go into your script. So whether that's the sample of the voice, like right here, if you clicked young Portuguese male, that's going to kind of influence how your host speaks, the backstory, the name, everything about this host and their personality is reflected in the content generated, which makes it really feel magical, and is an important part. And I know we're wrapping up here on time as well, but like, it's a good. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I wanted to say one quick thing, which is something that I've only recently noticed. For all the people out there who are hoping to make either foreign language podcasts, or sorry, not English podcasts, or what have you, you don't have to use just the voices that are in that language.
Right.
I've actually seen people having Eric Marquette, our default host, speak French, and I mean I don't speak French, but he sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
So just keep in mind that like all of these voices, you can definitely try to have them speak a variety of languages. Don't feel like if you don't, you only see 3 voices in your language and you're like, I'm limited to those 3. Feel free to experiment with other voices.
Totally. That was a good call out. Yeah. Every voice could speak all the languages that we support, which is like 20, 29 or so. So, yeah, find a voice you like and then create your podcast in the language that you want it to speak, and you're golden. So
I'm actually super interested to see.
Olá, estou aqui para ajudar no teu.
Let's have Felix be Portuguese and see.
nice.
Yeah.
There you go. There he is in the top. Oh, nice. A lot of cool artwork.
So this is the Quidditch banter one that I made yesterday, but I'm going to remove out Oliver Fleetwood. See Oliver here. If you ever want to remove a host, right here, see these buttons at the end. I'm going to remove Oliver, and then what's his name? Felix. I'm going to add Felix. I'm going to save changes. Yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah, sorry. Final minute. Maybe I shouldn't be going too far down this rabbit hole.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that was a good demonstration of kind of where we were at with hosts, and this kind of gives a little bit of insight about how we're thinking about the product and the roadmap. Is like, we want you to feel that Jellypod is the place that you can come with a lot of unstructured ideas, and we'll help you along the way. So if there's something like we mentioned last week, hasn't been implemented yet, about like AI generated cover art. A lot of people are using an artwork generator externally, and then bringing that artwork as their cover image to Jellypod. Ultimately, if there's something that you need to go to ChatGPT or another sort of AI tool to complete the process, you can assume that we've thought about that and it's going to be in our roadmap. So AI artwork generation, AI assisted sort of editing, all those things that you might be going and leaving Jellypod to go to another platform. That is something that's on our radar and where we want to improve. So that's the overarching theme about like our product, and how we can make it better. So if there's something that you're doing and it's like you're going to ChatGPT or somewhere else that you think could be natively in Jellypod, let us know. It's it's really interesting and cool to see all the different use cases and how people like. There's one guy who does a weekly or every night he's hopping on this live stream, and he has this podcast called What the Fact, and watching that is pretty interesting to see how he's going to ChatGPT and thinking about what the podcast should talk about. And we ultimately want to be that single spot where you just come to Jellypod. You don't have to go to ChatGPT because we're fine tuning these prompts, the models to be specifically the best things that you can get for podcasting, script creation. And we've spent a lot of engineering work there to get that to be good. So hopefully that you don't have to be leaving the platform in the future as much as you are today.
Totally. I'm going to, in closing, since we talked all about hosts, I'm going to try something because I see YouTubers doing this, but people probably won't do any of this. But if you want to comment in the thread about the hosts you've made or about the hosts that you want to make, throw out either some names or like who you think they should be or what have you, please do.
Totally.
If you do, then we'll talk about them next time.
All right.
But
share your links about your podcast. I mean, there's hundreds, thousands of them created every day. So share them in the YouTube comments, throw them on our Discord. We'll take a look. If we like it, we'll feature you on the Explore page. So
great job.
Yeah, you get more listeners to your podcast. So I think we're at time, but yeah, we'll do this again next Wednesday. Talk about everything that we've built and answer questions.
Post things you want us to talk about anywhere you can find us. Support, Discord, here, share it. We want to talk about it. Oh, thank you. Someone just posted they're very happy with the product and how you develop it. Oh, that means a lot.
Thanks. Yeah. So we'll end it here, but yeah, stay in touch with us. Join our Discord if you're not in there already. Follow us on Twitter, LinkedIn,
YouTube,
Instagram,
definitely subscribe to the YouTube.
Subscribe to YouTube. Jason's making a lot of great videos out there. It's great.
Yeah, some better than others.
Yeah, sweet. Okay, well, we'll see you all and see you next Wednesday.
See ya.